FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
Hello, everyone.
Goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Someone forgot how to work the audio board with JP's in the house.
I literally, as we're starting, we're like, in my head, I'm like, wow. I'm like, even when you got here in the studio, I'm like trying to like set everything up. And I'm like, wait a second. Just for those who don't know, the show works a lot differently when JP's in studio to when he's on remote. So this morning, I'm like, why can't I not figure out what I used to do? And literally, it's only been like 5 days since you've been in the studio.
Yeah.
And then what do? You come around and you start talking, and I'm like, wait a second, why can't I hear him?
Turn on his mic.
I'm hitting your mic for when you're on remote instead. So perfect right there.
At you, I'm like, why are you pushing that button? Push that button.
I'm so used to hitting this button. You're never here.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show on this, Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's golf day. It's Wednesday. I'm very excited about being here in studio and being with you guys. We got a great show for you today because we're already arguing back and forth. It's for half an hour we've been arguing. So we get to take it to the show today. Hopefully you guys enjoy this spirited debate over many things that may come up today. So, but chief among them is the Buccaneers quarterback competition, which Dave Canales put on blast yesterday. Oh, yes, it is very much a competition. And my friend over here, well, I'll let you tell it, what you're going to say today. Give him a little preview. Say it. Say it. Say it.
I think Kyle Trask is going to win this quarterback competition. I'm throwing a dart out there on August 2nd, 2023 at 10:02 in the morning.
Wow.
Kyle Trask is going to win this quarterback competition. He's going to steal it from Baker Mayfield.
And you're happy about that.
And I can't believe I'm saying it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
You know,
it's amazing how I've come around to this.
Second-round picks that have played well in the SEC can have success in this league. Jalen Hurts. Yeah, it can happen. This whole idea that Kyle Trask is a bum because he never supplanted Blaine Gabbert is the dumbest shit ever. It's ridiculous. He never got an opportunity. Never got an opportunity to do squat. So it's a fresh sheet of ice for this cat, and he's taking advantage of it. And I'm for one, am here for it. And we'll get into it a little bit later, but let's set up the show first. But I think this is not only is it legitimate competition, but it's a legitimate conversation, and I want to hear what you guys think out there as well. So jump aboard on the comment section on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter. You know where to find us, and let's get a poll out there, and we'll kind of feel it out, see what you guys feel about it. You know, are you happy about this? I mean, I think we all would love for Baker Mayfield to come out here and just seize the job. And I don't think Baker Mayfield's playing terrible in practice. This is a new offense for him. These are new receivers for him. This is new everything. For him to throw a few picks is not the worst thing in the world in practice. And also, picks in practice are also part of the feeling out process of knowing when you can throw it and when you can't. And that's all part of the process. So we'll get into that, but I'd love to get your guys' feedback on that. We're going to get into the quarterback competition. We got Rays. Well, the Rays of old have returned, at least for a few days. For the first time since late June, they've won 3 games in a row. For the first time since late June, they've won 2 series in a row. Since the first time since forever, they're actually hitting the baseball, which is nice to see. So, there's a lot of good stuff to talk about with the Rays and Yankees, and we'll get into that. I still have a big beef with what they did at the deadline because, once again, I was right. They didn't spend shit. Not a freaking dollar. Not a dollar. In fact, they made it made it easier to make more money. In fact, Stu Sternberg probably made $25 million yesterday, and we'll tell you how he did that. So we'll get into the Rays and Yankees, good and bad. We got 2 great interviews for you today. Dave Canales is just, what a breath of fresh air this guy is, man. I just love listening to him talk, and he gave such a great wide-ranging interview yesterday. We're going to play the whole damn thing for you, and so did Mike Evans. And Mike Evans is just a freaking treasure. Mike Evans is a Tampa Bay treasure, and it goes so far beyond his football. And I just listening to this cat talk, he is so authentic. He's such a good teammate. He's such a great leader. I just can't say enough great things about Mike Evans. And, Pewter Report just did a poll. We did a poll as well about who should be on the Mount Rushmore of Buccaneers. And, I don't know if we agreed on this, but I know Scott likes to put Warren Sapp up there. I put Mike Evans up there. I have Rondé, Mike Evans, Derek, and Leroy. That's my four. And Mike Evans, but when it's all said and done, is going to be one of the, Lord willing, if he stays healthy, and we're going to hear him talk today about that, and I feel like he's going to play well into his 30s. He's got an opportunity to rewrite the NFL record book when it comes, except for maybe even approach some of Jerry Rice's records. Maybe. He's got a shot, which even saying that is just preposterous, right? So we're gonna play Mike's interview. We're gonna break them all down for you, give you our takes on it, and I think it also very pertinent to where this particular team is heading. And we're gonna get into the criticism of the United States Women's National Team, which is oh my God, how tall? I can't believe you said something bad about our team. Oh, it just happens to be the former captain of the team in Carly Lloyd, and people are losing their mind because they're getting criticized for playing like crap. Welcome to the big boy world of sports. If you don't like it, play better. That's the way it works. So we'll get into that a little bit and many other things that I forget. We got college football stuff to talk about as well.
And J.C. Allen from Pewter Report coming up at 11:30 as well, who was at the Bucs night practice yesterday.
Yeah, which was another, very interesting night as we transition back into the quarterback battle here. I've been saying for a while, don't discount Kyle Trask. I've never been in that camp of, he's never shown anything to this point. In fact, I've been very opposite of that because I know this kid's story and his moxie. Maybe when Bowles was talking about moxie, it just wasn't about Baker Mayfield. Trask, just because he's understated and not a raw kind of guy, doesn't mean he can't play football, and it doesn't mean that he doesn't have the charisma to be a starting quarterback in this league. And again, I just go back to what he did at Florida, and it was dramatic. It was great in the best college football league there is. Now, does that mean you can play pro football? No. But I'm here to tell you, let's look at his skills right now. He's a 6'5" quarterback, and you watch him move, he can move. He can move. And I've always said that his movement is underrated, but it's even better now. And under Dave Canales and Thad Lewis, his quarterback coach, he has become very good at throwing off platform. He's throwing darts. He's not turning the ball over, which is obviously a prerequisite to getting this starting job. And I will say that I think Baker Mayfield, being a seasoned pro, is probably in a little bit more different headspace. And I think hopefully Dave Canales and Todd Bowles recognize this, that he's probably going to take more chances in practice, some that he wouldn't take in the game. But I'll say this, you can't discount the number of interceptions that he's thrown since he's been in the league. He's been in bad situations. That's definitely part of it. But, that's on your record. That's who you are. That's part of who you are. So we have to take it into consideration. And it's a thing. There's no question about it. And we're going to see this thing play out. I think, a lot of us, and I didn't think it was a foregone conclusion that that they were just doing this for optics. I never believed that. I believed that Dave Canales was authentic because I think he's an authentic human being, to be quite honest. I don't think he's capable of telling bold-faced lies like other coaches and coordinators might do, or being so what's the word I'm looking for here? Talking down to everyone because he knows so much more than everybody else, and that's why his press conferences are so beautiful. So do we have the soundbite from Canales? Just basically, we're going to play the whole interview, but this one part I want you to hear. when asked about is this a quarterback competition? Is it legitimate? Is Kyle Trask got a shot at winning this job? And
yeah, it's good. So first couple of days, I think the experience that Baker brings, just playing in games, being in camps, going through installs, you could see where the offense was gelling really well. The timing of the snaps and all that's really critical for us. So probably a little bit of an edge for Baker to start off just in terms of the smoothness of the offense. But it just took a couple of days for Kyle to really settle in. And then what we saw is the last two practices, Kyle really showed what he can do, stretching the field with his arm, getting the ball out quickly, making decisions. So I'm really excited about both of those guys and the progression that they've made throughout the last couple of days.
now, somebody asked him if it's competition. I want to hear that
Kyle
part.
talked about working on his fundamentals this offseason with the coach at Jacksonville. He worked on being a little less timid in the pocket and standing taller, but it seems like there have been some changes for him from the neck up. He's more decisive with the ball. It seems like it's coming out quicker. Have you seen that from him, and what would you attribute that to?
Yeah, he's mastering the concepts. And so the more that he can, in a pre-snap way, gather information and really start to progress. So, just in any pass concept, you may have as many as 3 or 4 progressions, but you don't have time to check all 3, kind of like a true sprinkler type of read. So where guys start to get comfortable and play fast is when they eliminate 1 and 2, they're getting to 3 and 4 in the same rhythm they would. So that's what I've been seeing from him that I'm excited about. And the other thing too is just, what's happening with Kyle is as I call a play, he's finishing the play, the sentence before I can finish it. So that just, just speaks to like him studying the offense, studying the formations, and being really comfortable with what we're calling.
Seen a lot of big plays from the rookie wide receivers. Braxton.
I don't know exactly where the soundbite is, but someone asked about, is this truly a competition? He said, absolutely it is. And you can just hear from his effusive praise of Kyle Trask there how much Trask has improved. And as Jeremy Lowe says here, and this is an important point, he says, I've been saying this all along, put Trask with starters and you'll see how good he really is. And I think that's important. It's like this kid's never had a chance to work with the ones. And yeah, it makes a difference.
Right, and that's why you made the point earlier about, well, Baker Mayfield, this is a new offense, and he's never thrown to these guys. And the truth is, I don't know how many times that Kyle Trask has thrown to these ones
right.
either.
Yeah.
And this is a new offense for him as well. So you're basically starting at ground zero with both guys, in my opinion. And listen, I don't think Baker, from everything I've heard, and you've been out there, I don't think he's playing bad or anything. I think he's been good.
No.
I think in some respects you could say he's had more splash plays than Kyle, but you can't ignore the fact that he's thrown the most interceptions in the NFL since he entered the league in 2018. That's a real statistic.
It's a number.
It's a number. Whatever went into that, it happened. And during camp so far, and it happened again last night, he's thrown interceptions. That's been a thing that he's been doing at camp so far. And you know who's not throwing interceptions?
Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask. And if you go back to Canales' first few press conferences with the Bucs, he stressed a lot, the guy who does not turn the ball over the most is probably going to be the guy that wins this quarterback competition.
That's right.
So I'm seeing all this going on, and I'm seeing these clips of Kyle Trask, and I'm seeing more zip on the ball. Like you said, I'm seeing him throw off platform, just things that I guess I doubted myself looking at him at first. He has clearly evolved. He has clearly done his homework, as Dave Canales said, on this offense, and he showed up to work. And so everybody is saying, and I know this is probably true, that, this is Baker Mayfield's job to lose and everything. And I think you have to start saying that Kyle Trask is starting to almost take it from him a little bit. Now, we're early. Mm-hmm. We're still early in this process. Let's be real here. We've had, 2 padded practices so far? Mm-hmm. We got to get to some preseason games. I'm going to guess the first quarterback out of the sideline to go out there for the first series is probably going to be Baker Mayfield to start.
Yep.
And that's fair. But I've been so impressed by Kyle Trask and the curiosity factor. I want to see it. And I started thinking, too, look at other examples around the league. And I told you this before the show started. Jordan Love is a great example, I think, because I think him and Kyle are in 2 very similar situations. Jordan was a first-round pick, yes. He sat behind a Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, just like Trask sat behind a Hall of Fame quarterback in Tom Brady. Both are no longer here no longer at their places for different reasons. They're given the keys to Jordan Love. Like, he's our guy, he's going to be our franchise quarterback. They signed him to that, extension and everything for, $20 million. They're putting a lot of faith in him, right? The last time he played football in 2020, or the 2019 season, I guess you got to go back to,
Yeah.
he played middling football at best at Utah State.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's 4 years ago. Kyle Trask, the last time he played football was in 2020. Okay, so 1 year before, or 1 year after him, in the SEC, playing that schedule, and to your point, nearly beating Alabama in the SEC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say if Jordan Love can do it, that Kyle Trask can't do it?
Well, and Jordan Love is in a much better position. He's actually been the second quarterback getting reps.
Correct.
Kyle Trask hasn't got any reps.
Correct.
Because Brady would not have it. It was so bad that in a meaningless game in Atlanta, when Tom Brady should have been sitting his ass on the bench, Brady wouldn't even let Trask go out there and start the game. Because organizationally, I can't believe the Bucs wouldn't have wanted to see Kyle Trask in that game.
And to the point where the previous OC, who does not need to be named, we're my goodness,
man will not be named.
Exactly. Remember, he was asked about Kyle Trask in that press conference leading up to Atlanta. Yeah. He had no time for it.
Just dismissed it.
He had no time to talk about Kyle Trask.
Because that's what Brady did. That's what Brady did. You know, Brady never embraced Kyle Trask. You know, no.
I think that was the competitor in Brady.
Of course it is, and that's why he's the greatest to ever do it.
Right.
But it didn't necessarily help the development. I can't believe for 1 minute, and someday I'll get the clear answer on this. I can't believe for 1 minute that the Bucs did not want to see Kyle Trask in that game. You know who didn't want to see Kyle Trask in that game? Tom Brady. Anyway, but that's long gone. But Kyle Trask, look, and it's funny because if you go out there, if you went out there to Bucs camp today, or they're not practicing today, but if you this week, and you didn't know who these guys were, you didn't know their previous resumes,
right?
All right, and you were just looking at the quarterbacks, and you're looking at this guy. Wow, that guy's big. He can move. He throws really well.
Yeah, who looks like the actual starting quarterback?
Who looks like the NFL quarterback? It's Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
It's not the diminutive Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield looks like he's, like that second string guy that could be pretty good.
Right.
If he looked, wow, he's got some sizzle on
and
the
I don't
ball.
I don't want to come off again. Not that you're trying to, but I don't want it to come off like we're trying to tear down one guy by building the other up.
No.
Not doing that at all. I think we're just really saying that I think we've both been blown away from Kyle Trask in the early part of this process, and maybe I don't know if we saw it coming. At least I didn't.
I think I was a little bit more open-minded than most.
Probably more than me, for sure.
I kept telling everybody, stop throwing this guy away. We haven't seen what he can do yet. I'm not saying he's going to be great. I'm just saying, can I see it? Can I get a look? That's why I was so adamant last year about him playing that game. I wanted to see it. To see it.
And this is why I wonder when we get further along in this process in preseason, regardless of what happens, if you're Todd Bowles, you know what you're going to get out of Baker Mayfield, mostly probably if you put him out there. You're Todd Bowles, you don't know what you're going to get out of Kyle Trask. He may wilt under. It's still an unknown, and that's the fear that you have here with him not playing last year in Atlanta because you didn't get that real experience. So it almost like this, in Todd Bowles' mind, I wonder if in his head he's still dead set on, well, I'm starting with Baker no matter what because I know exactly what I'm going to get. And
I hope not.
And if it goes south, then we'll throw Kyle in there. I wonder if that's Todd Bowles' thinking or if this is a true competition like they said, and if you go with the guy who's impressed the most throughout this process, right now I got to give the upper hand, like you said, to Kyle Trask.
And here's where, the conundrum happens. You have head coach on hot seat, needing to win games, thinking that if we don't turn the ball over and we have a guy that's been there and done that before, and I keep pointing towards that 2020 season that Cleveland had, where he was 27 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and the run game was really balanced. It was a great run game in Cleveland. They go to the playoffs and win a playoff game. Baker Mayfield was healthy the whole time, had some competent coaching. He was good. He was really good. And that's the Baker Mayfield I'm counting on getting this year. And if we get that Baker Mayfield as the starter, the Bucs are going to win this division. They're going to go to the playoffs. And then, who knows what happens. I believe that. I think Baker, he's shown that he can do that in the NFL.
Right.
Okay? Kyle Trask is not. Kyle Trask will be out there in the starting lights, and he's going to make mistakes. He's going to make rookie mistakes. And do you think Todd Bowles on the hot seat has the stomach to do an on-the-job training where Kyle Trask may be the better answer for this team down the line? Kyle Trask could be the next Buccaneers quarterback. You don't know. And you could say, oh, how stupid is that? How many examples do you need me to talk about? Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts. I mean, we go down the freaking list. You don't have to be the number 1 draft pick to be a great quarterback in this league. Nobody knows until you step out on the field, Tom Brady, if you're going to be the greatest quarterback in the 6th round that has ever played in this game. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady. What I'm saying is we don't know until we see it on the field with a good sample size. We don't know. So why not? Where is the danger in letting this play out? But there's the conundrum. Is the head coach, does he have the stomach for this?
Right.
To watch Kyle Trask go through the growing pains that everybody said Kenny Pickett sucks. What's he going to do? He was pretty good last year and might be a pretty damn good quarterback in this league. We don't know until they get out there and play.
Yeah, I mean, the examples you can keep going. I mean, the ones that come to my head, I mean, the Commanders, then Redskins drafted 2 quarterbacks. They drafted 1 second overall, and they drafted another one in the 4th round.
Who's still playing?
Who's still playing and making a lot of money and everything.
And
playing pretty damn well, right?
Yeah.
If you're not paying attention, RG3 to Kirk Cousins.
Right.
Even to the point where San Francisco is a great example right now. I mean, you're seeing Trey Lance. I don't even know if this guy's even going to win the quarterback competition, and he's going up against Brock Purdy.
Who had Brock Purdy being, a guy that Mr. Irrelevant almost led him to a freaking – if he doesn't get hurt, he may have been Mr. Relevant leading the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl champion in his rookie year. Did you have that? Oh, Brock Purdy sucks. He's never going to do anything. You don't know.
Yeah.
That the quarterback position, more than any in football, is the biggest wild card. You can't predict who's going to be great, which is bizarre because – I mean, you want to talk about guys who are gone over with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, they know how many freaking hair follicles they have on their ass by the time you get to the draft day. I mean, these guys are so you do background checks.
You're
talking to their elementary school teachers, and with all that information, we still don't know if they're going to be able to do it.
You could probably go back the last 50 years of football, and this is probably more relatable to you because you've been around the block a while.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks, and at least in my time, like I could probably name 4 or 5 guys in my time of being a fan. So I'll just say the last 15 years to keep it short. I could probably name 4 or 5 guys at the top of my head who you knew right away like they were layups. That guy's going to succeed in the NFL. Yeah. And I'm thinking and I'm literally talking like an Andrew Luck is who I'm thinking of. Yeah. I'm thinking of like a Trevor Lawrence, like a Joe Burrow, like certain guys like that just kind of jumped off the page immediately.
There are even questions about Joe Burrow.
Exactly. Even he wasn't a perfect prospect. But then some of the guys that I was really high on, I got it completely wrong.
Right.
And Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
I thought the guy was going to win Super Bowls and everything. When he got drafted to the Bucs, I'm like, okay, how many Super Bowls are we going to win with Jameis Winston?
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Never got to the playoffs.
But he had great ability, but he had that fatal flaw that he could never fix.
Right. They just quarterback, like you said, it is the hardest position to evaluate and find.
The top quarterbacks drafted, there are more failures and busts, probably 5 to 1, than there are guys that actually became great quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 to 1 if you go look at all the guys that have been drafted in the first round. And you just look at historically, Joe Montana, 3rd round pick. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady, 6th round pick. I mean, Steve Young was a 1st rounder. I'm thinking Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah, again, the layups. Elway was obvious to everybody, I think, probably at that time.
But
he was going to be a guy.
Not until late in his career did he ever win anything.
Correct.
Not until he got a running game did he ever win anything.
Correct.
So it's a team game, and it's so often it depends on where these quarterbacks go. I could probably pick 10 quarterbacks that could have been great had they gone to another system and a better team that were just washed out because they were And
so I tell you what, no matter who the quarterback is, and this was a great point here from James, that Brock Purdy also has a great head coach, something the Bucs lack. That is certainly true when it comes to Kyle Shanahan, and that's when it turns to Dave Canales, and you know this too. Sometimes an offensive wizard, a great offensive head coach, a scheme, can prop a quarterback up, make him look better than maybe he is a little bit, and get the most out of him. So it almost goes hand in hand. Dave Canales has also have to find a way, and this is why there's a lot on his plate this year as a first-time play caller. In addition to doing that, he's going to have to elevate one of these quarterbacks no matter what it is if the Bucs want to get to where they want to go. And again, when you listen to Dave Canales speak, you just believe that he's going to figure it out.
You do.
You do.
You do.
I know it's not everything, but again, comparing him to the other dude, head coaches are so hard. Sometimes it's so hard to listen to coaching press conferences because they can get very cliche, as you know, a little boring. Mm-hmm. I listened to the entire Canales press conference yesterday, 16 minutes long, in my living room while I was eating dinner. And it flew by.
Yeah.
It flew by.
Yeah.
And I was hanging on every word the guy had to say.
Yeah, it's informational. It's authentic.
It's authentic. And authenticity makes you believe in somebody.
Absolutely.
And he certainly has passed that test so far.
Yeah, I totally agree, 100%. All right, get to some of the comments here. Richie P says, I like Trask is doing his part as it relates to preparation, weight loss the past 2 years. He's done everything he's been asked to do. As Todd Bowles offered up last year, right, when asked who the hardest worker is or something like, he just offered up out of Kyle Trask. Every time I look out my window, he's out there working on something. And again, that in his progress, in my opinion, was stunted by the organization vis-a-vis Brady because he had no time for it. And frankly, I get it. It was about Brady, and it should have been.
Yeah, we were in
Brady.
a Super Bowl window.
If I were them, I would anything that came out of Brady's mouth, I would have said yes, sir. Let's do it. I mean, that's what they did basically until the end when it didn't work out so well. But they got a Super Bowl out of it, so
Correct.
it wasn't.
So it was the right decision.
It's absolutely the right decision. But again, I mean, maybe the last game of last year probably would have been better for the organization. Now we'll get to that in just a second. What was the other one I wanted? From James. So if Bucs start Trask, they go 1-3, and then they turn to Baker. Seriously, look, people always want to know, like, if the record is this, then this should happen. That's ridiculous because how did they get to 1-3? Did the defense give up the booty? Give up 30 points a game, and Kyle Trask is out there going 24 for 27, throwing 3 touchdowns, and they're 1-3.
Listen, it's very likely.
You don't know.
It's very likely. 1-3, and it depends how they get there, right?
Right.
But it's
very
very
much
likely.
Depends on how they get there.
Yes, but it's very likely the Bucs could be 1-3 when you look at the schedule. They got to play Minnesota on the road to open, not easy.
No.
They got to play the defending NFC champs in Philadelphia on a primetime game at home, right? So you like that.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. And then you got to go into a place that has typically been a house of horrors outside of the Brady years, and that's New Orleans away.
Even Brady couldn't win there.
Exactly. It's very possible the Bucs open up the season 1-3, but there's going to be certain factors, like if sometimes the quarterback plays well and you just don't win the game.
Right.
Right. So it's not as easy to say, okay, they're 1-3. You need to make a change to quarterback. You have to see how that quarterback performs. But yes,
100%.
They could be 1-3. They could very well.
And that's why I keep saying this year is about patience. It's about you want to win. Winning helps you develop as an organization, okay? But you also have to have an eye on the future. You have to start developing young players. And there's going to be some hard knocks with that. There just are. So, and that's in, that's the dichotomy there is you have a head coach that has to win to keep his job. So it's a weird
and also
dynamic.
and I don't know. I know ownership doesn't typically get too involved. It seems it comes off like with this team, but let's be honest. The Glazers are not. I would not call them a patient bunch when it comes to Bucs head coaches.
No,
they are quick to pull a trigger if they feel they need to.
They are, they are silent influencers, but they do get pissed off, and Jason Light hears it. He hears it when stuff goes bad. He hears it, and that's taken seriously. But thank God they're not out there, doing press conferences, outside the locker room. Because we see them every game as we go down to the locker room. They're getting into their very nice cars and getting their escorts out of the beautiful, beautiful cars. But they're not sitting there going, "Hey, come over here, JP, and give me a mic." And thank you. That's great. I would love to hear from them, but no, I as a media person, I'd love to. But if you're a fan, you don't want to hear from the owners. You just don't. They can have their say behind closed doors, and that's where it belongs, in my opinion. Not not discounting their right to say it. I'm not saying that, but they do it the right way. The Glazers do it the right way.
With the football, the American football.
Yes, let's not get into that. All right, before I hit our first break, well, actually, let's go ahead and hit the break, and then we're going to come back.
Can I get to this comment real quick that just came real quick from James Ludman?
We love our comment.
This is true, by the way. If both these guys are bad and the record reflects that, you have to make a play for Caleb Williams. And I will say, I don't know if it's going to be Caleb Williams because even if these guys both fall flat on their face, I don't know if they'll be picking number one. I think that's still unlikely. But here's the thing: if they do suck, If they do suck, you will be in a position to get a blue chip quarterback next year, and then hopefully you reset, and we'll see.
The whole idea of tanking for a quarterback has proven to be complete folly.
Yes.
Complete
Very
folly
difficult.
because your tank may not happen. See Brian Flores, and can destroy your franchise, and destroy your locker room, destroy your credibility as a franchise, because the players and coaches aren't going to tank. You have to do it organizationally, and everybody knows you're doing it. It F's up your franchise. It just does. So don't even think about that. Now, if it gets down to like it did for the Buccaneers in the second half of a game, you don't need to win, and you can secure the first round pick, and you're okay. I'm fine. Fine, Lovey. Pull the starters.
Carolina did it last year essentially.
I mean, that's
but they
just
knew
smart.
they knew they were starting over completely.
Yeah, that's just being smart. But you need to play out the season legitimately. And when it gets to the point where there's a point of no return, and it's just stupid to win a last game like last year for the Texans, then of course, don't be dumb. But don't make that an organizational philosophy.
Yeah, don't go into the season saying like, "Hey, we better not win any games."
Because
that's when you lose a team.
Because you don't know if the guy you're going to pick is going to pan out, Jameis Winston, or you don't know if you're even going to get.
How many times has this happened? How many times
has
this happened before? You go into a college football season and we see mock drafts come out, and everybody's got this one guy penciled at number one, and then the season goes on.
By the end of the year,
and you know who I think of was going into 2020? Was it 2021? I want to say, or the last year's draft actually.
Was it Will Levis?
No.
I heard people talking about
him.
Yeah.
But I remember coming out of the 2021 college football season, there was a lot of people talking, or 2020 rather, Spencer Rattler. Yeah. Everybody had Spencer Rattler penciled in at number one for the 2022 NFL draft. Yeah. Well, how'd that work out? How'd that work out?
Tua.
Sometimes you get it wrong as evaluator, so you might tank for somebody. He's no longer the top guy.
Look at Tua. He had a good, kind of season last year, but
nobody had Joe Burrow coming out of nowhere that year.
Nope. So it's folly. It's complete folly. The Caleb Williams thing, I don't want to hear about it. And the way that young man handles himself and his notoriety, we'll see if his success continues. Number one,
being called Pat Mahomes in college, that is
he needs to mature a little bit for me to get on board with that.
You're still mad about the fingernails thing.
It's not just that. There's a lot that goes into it. If you're going to be the face of my franchise,
I know you. We'll take Jordan Travis number one.
Talk about high character. I wouldn't draft him number one, but it remains to be seen if he can play in the NFL. We'll see. Let's watch him play his senior season and win a Heisman Trophy and a national championship, and then we'll evaluate him, right? Well, you want to talk about high character. There's your guy right there. There's your guy. Caleb Williams would do well to watch how that young man comports himself, and his draft stock will soar if he does so. All right, Greg, lots of good stuff coming your way. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Get that great personal attention you so richly deserve with Scott Jeeves and the Jeeves Law Group. Very aggressive. They will get a great settlement for you, very approachable. They will call you back. They are the group to go to, the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. All right, back in 3, we got the Canales interview, the Evans interview. Lots of great stuff coming your way here on the JP Peterson Show. Stay with us. Are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by. Never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to jeeveslawgroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work, you save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this hump day. Brought to you by the great folks at the Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. If you want to get your testosterone right, just got my blood work back. Testosterone's good. Cholesterol, not so much.
Good to know.
Need to work on that. Not too bad, but the folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center are helping me with that, and I guarantee you on my next blood work that's done, we will be down in the acceptable range. We're not far from that. But the testosterone is good. Everything else looks really, really good. And that's what they do over there. They look at your individual blood work, your individual habits, and they devise a program just for you. Not a one-size-fits-all, not a here's a pill for the symptoms. They look at the root causes of your issues, attack them, and make you healthier moving forward in your life. And that's what it's all about. So just get an appointment. It's really, really easy. Just go to BAMMC.com. And you can use your insurance for the blood work and all the labs. The fees for the services are very, very reasonable, and you get that personal attention. Chris Lugo spent an hour and 20 minutes with me on my initial consultation to become my primary care physician, and I highly recommend you do that to get that personal attention. You go to these other places, folks, and they're just a number. They got 10, 15 minutes to talk to you, and they just want to get you out the door. They take no personal interest in you. for the most part. So get out of the medical machine and get to somebody who really cares about what's going on and will look at what's going on in your personal situation. And that's Chris Lugo and the folks over at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. All right, Rays get a big win last night over the Yankees. Thought they were going to throw it away there at the end, Colin Poche. What the hell is going on? Zach Paredes, what are you doing? You got a lead like that. Hold on to the dadgum ball if you can't make the play.
I know, and I tweeted last night. Too. I was like, with alarm bells, I was like, the Yankees have scored a run, everybody. Like, oh, my goodness, it's happened. And then I'm starting to see that inning unfold, and I'm like, oh, no. I started trolling, and here we go. It's going to bite. It's going to bite me. I should have known. I mean,
wait the half hour.
With Colin Poche on the mound, I should have known better, right?
Yeah.
But all was right with the world. Peter Fairbanks came in, and Peter Fairbanks is starting to turn a corner with his elite stuff.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I'm watching the broadcast last night on TBS, which...
Oh, you watched the TBS broadcast? What's the matter with you?
I kind of like to get... I love our guys, but sometimes I like to get a national perspective. And here's something that I learned that they probably didn't tell you on your broadcast.
Okay, well, spill it.
Giancarlo Stanton, when he has a day off, doesn't pinch hit. He gets a full day off.
Right.
How much is that dude making? Quick check. I think like $28 million a year.
Might be more than that.
Ridiculous number. So when he gets a day off, he can't even pinch hit.
Well, do you want to know?
Would you like to play the field?
Would you like to know his career numbers pinch hitting?
They're not good, but I mean the fact is he can't do it.
He's 3 for 40. That's an 0.75 average with 22 strikeouts as a pinch hitter in his career.
So get better.
And they actually put that stat up before he came up, and I'm like, okay, we're good.
You can't play the field because just get in the freaking cage. You know why he sucks as a pinch hitter? Because he sits on his ass the whole damn game and then hops up finally and goes up there instead of most pinch hitters who in the seventh inning or
$32 million, by the way. $32 million annually. That's about 60% of the Rays' payroll.
He can't play the field and he can't pitch hit.
Well, he's playing the field now, but
they can't play it very well.
No.
Wow, what great versatility. Brian Cashman, you are a genius.
That team sucks.
You are a genius.
That team sucks.
How does Cashman still have his job?
I don't know.
They
did nothing. They did nothing at the deadline except acquire a middling reliever from the White Sox.
What are you doing? Like, what are they doing?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm glad.
I'm glad the Rays are here to bury him for the year.
Yeah.
I love Boo Birds coming out in Yankee Stadium.
So bad.
All this money they spent on Carlos Rodon just to get shelled by the Rays. It's perfect, man. All these How many times you thought Aaron Judge hit a home run last night? 2 or 3 times?
That 115 that almost killed the second base umpire was impressive.
No, well, the crowd goes. The crowd's getting crazy. There it is, and it's just a lazy fly ball to left.
Was that the first at bat? I'm trying to. Anyway, I think it was Eflin. He threw 2. They were just pitching around him, and then he just threw a big juicy one right down the middle. I'm like, ooh! Like when he leaves his hand, I'm like, ooh, ooh, and he just smokes it and almost kills the second base. But you know what? For the most part, they've done a great job pitching to Aaron Judge. He's not getting anything to hit.
No, he's not.
Why would you?
No, he's not. Even if they walk him,
I don't care.
There's nobody else. He has no protection.
Yeah.
The guy hitting in front of him last night was Jake Bowers.
Yeah.
There's no protection there.
It's so great to see the Yankees.
It's
suck.
so awesome.
You suck, Yankees. You're so bad. All the money you spent. How does Cashman
It's so
keep
funny.
a job?
Both the New York teams. Did you see how the Mets game ended? Side note, did you see how the Mets game ended last night?
I did not.
It ended on a walk-off balk. Their reliever balked before he even threw a pitch in the game.
The Rays did that one.
And that's how they lost. He didn't even throw a pitch. He just balked on his first time there. And they had Pete Alonso going after a foul ball. Bless his heart. Tampa native. Get him out of there.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. Foul ball.
Come to Tampa. Oh, yeah, we didn't get him either.
Foul ball coming down first base side, and he slides. And guess where it hits him? Right in the face.
Oh.
He took one right in the face. And I was like, man, that sums up New York baseball this year, man, on both sides. On both sides. So I love it. But good night for the Rays last night.
All right, good night for the Rays. Do we have some the home runs. Give me a little long ball?
Yeah, I'll give you
a long ball courtesy of Bally Sports Sun.
Yeah, we'll give you the Yandy one first.
Oh, yeah, a little Oppo.
I think this is his career high, 15th home run.
Career high 15th home run.
High shot back into deep right field. Bowers all the way to the wall. Gone! Home run off the bat of Yandy Diaz. Yandy's 15th. And the Rays make it a 2-0 ball game.
367.
Short porch in Yankee Stadium, man.
Thank you. We'll take it. That's probably a home run in what? 2 ballparks, maybe?
Probably not many, if I had to guess.
That's okay. We'll take it.
Yeah, but the other home run was much more notable.
After an 0 for 21, Randy Arozarena cuts his hair, by the way. Thank God. We're done with the Siri dreadlocks as well.
Hey, when Siri got those dreadlocks, that's when the Rays started playing bad baseball, by the way.
Really bad
So
baseball.
he messed this up.
He did.
He
Bad
messed this
juju.
up. Bad juju.
Bad juju sitting in a chair. First of all, who sits in a chair for 12 hours?
Yeah,
to get your hair
that's
done?
crazy. That's
You're a
insane.
man?
That's insane. My haircut takes 10 minutes.
What are we doing here? Now, that alone was your punishment right
Right.
there. A month of just horrible baseball
Yep.
for everybody.
But Randy, and it ended up there. He was 0 for his last 21. I believe like 4 for his last like 60 or something crazy
You
like
are
that.
correct. 4
Like,
for 61, 0 for 21. He had 1 home run on my birthday since June.
right?
Yeah, and this is all, and you can tell me whatever you want, home run derby. Because look at the way he's been swinging since the home run derby. He's just like pulling his head, swinging as hard as he can. It's like, wow, I just hit 86 home runs at the home run derby.
that's
all
so
I gotta
funny.
do is take this to the field.
You know, that's so funny. That's so funny. And you know what? I wish I had the clip to play you from the show after the
said
home
it.
run derby, because I said that to you, and you know what you told me? No, it doesn't
I
really
didn't
happen
say
that
that.
much, you know.
I didn't say
He'll be
that.
fine. Randy Arozarena.
Well, maybe I said that.
No, you did say that. You did say that. You mocked me. I'll mock you now today.
Yeah, it was 100%. Well, when I heard he was like actually taking batting practice, like a week beforehand.
My reasoning
practicing.
was Randy Arozarena has always had this like wild long swing,
Right.
And for the first 2.5 months of the season,
was
he
great.
had cut that down,
Yeah.
and I just was like, why are we going to mess with this? He's found a perfect recipe, and I really don't have any interest in seeing him go through a slump, and that's exactly what happened. So that was my concern.
By the way, I'm not here to say he's out of it because he hit 1 home run, but
No,
let's hope so.
No, but we hope so. And here it was. This was a bomb off of Carlos Rodon in the 3rd inning.
And a drive, high and deep to left, and that baby is gone. Home run off the bat of Randy Arozarena, and he snaps that hitless streak with a 2-run shot, and boy, did he get into that one.
Man,
I love it.
he comes to third base, does his stops and does that. Yeah,
Haven't gotten that one in a while.
yeah. Good for him.
Good for him. Well, you need it. I mean, listen, I said it yesterday. They didn't get a bat at the deadline. And so the 2 guys who have got, or 3 guys, I guess, that really have to kind of get more consistent at the plate is Wander Franco, which we've seen him. He's officially snapped out of his slump.
Yep.
Brandon Lau's on his heater. No doubt about that one right now.
Yep.
But can he find some consistency is the big thing.
Yep.
And then Randy Arozarena, 2, 3, 4 in your lineup, has got to produce. We can talk all you want about the guys in the lower lineup and the catcher position, this and that. Your stars have to be your stars.
Yep.
End of story. And it's a good sign that those 3 guys look to be hopefully coming out of it now.
And Brandon Lau has made some plays in the field that have just
Yes,
been
let's point that out.
He made another one last night.
Yes.
It was just spectacular.
Brandon Lau has quietly been really, really good on the field this season.
And I felt so bad ripping him. We did, but we were, we did it for a reason.
Listen, I mean, you
it
got to
works
be
every time
you got to be
on this show. As soon
Listen,
as
you
we
know
rip
this.
somebody,
You got to be objective. When Brandon Lau was not doing well,
it's awful.
we let him know. And now that he's coming out of it, I think end of story, regardless of how you feel about our opinions, and this is at least how I feel, I don't really care if I look like a fool.
No.
I really don't.
No.
Because I want the team to succeed.
That's right.
I want Brandon Lau to be the best hitter on the team like he's been before.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call it like I see it.
You
And if
have
I
to.
look like a fool, I don't really care.
You have to.
So I'll have my fandom when I want to.
Damn right. And he was terrible, and he's been terrible for a long time.
Yeah, but he's on his heater right now.
And let's just hope it lasts into the postseason.
And also of note, too, Manuel Margot, his first RBI since June 28th.
And he made a hell of a catch in right field.
Yes.
Running catch in right field. That was a hell of a catch.
Yes, and I thought it was interesting because there was the report, it was like 12 minutes before the deadline. I'm like monitoring deadline stuff, what's going to happen. And the Rays apparently they were shopping Manuel Margot. They were trying to do 2 moves. They were trying to offload Margot's contract and then trying to add another outfielder that was, obviously a better bargain than Manuel Margot and hopefully a better hitter. And it was just too late in the game. They obviously couldn't do anything. But then Manuel Margot responds and does that. So good to see.
Yep, they're starting to play better baseball, and it's happened against at least teams that are over 500. I won't say the Yankees are a good baseball team, but they're over 500, so that qualifies them for that.
Yeah.
And of course the Astros
Yeah.
are. By the way, shout out to Framber.
No hitter.
What a no-no last
93 pitch no hitter.
He was good.
I think the last time they had a no hitter with that many pitches was David Cohn back in the 90s.
And the TBS went to it. I was watching their post-game show, which Brandon Lau was on. He did a really nice job. But there's 17 guys they have on the dais on TBS baseball show. But he goes 0-2. I forget who it was, the last hitter. Throws two great curveballs down and in that the guy couldn't touch. And 0-2, he throws a lollipop cement mixer right over the middle of the plate. And then you just cringe. You're like, oh, no. And the guy swings, and it looks like he barreled it up. But he got it on the end of the bat.
Right.
It just turned out to be a little
liner
to short. But I'm like, oh, my God, that thing may be leaving the yard. There goes the shutout, too. And, he got lucky on that last beat. I don't know, 0-2, what are you throwing that pitch for?
Right?
That was awful.
Yeah, I thought the Rays were going to have a tiny little piece of history yesterday, too, but it wasn't in the cards.
What's that?
The way Zach Eflin was pitching yesterday and the efficiency, I was like, are we going to finally see a complete game from the first one since Matt Andrees?
Yeah, that ain't happening.
But, I mean, he was coming back from the knee injury, so obviously, and they were up 5-0. No need to push it here in August. So.
Yeah, he was really, really
But
good.
he was fantastic. That was quintessential Zach Eflin right there. That guy is a bulldog on the mound. He keeps the pitch count low. He goes deep into games when he needs to. I just love this guy. The Rays rotation continues to be just absolute filth.
All right, and now we get to the other part. And I said this yesterday, that the Rays weren't going to go out and get a bat. And, everybody in the media wants to send them flowers for getting Savale, and it was a great pickup, and it's fantastic. But one of the main reasons they got Savale is so they can trade Glasnow and his $25 million salary, which I told you they will never pay. And that's setting up for that happening next year. And I'm not necessarily saying – I'm not going to have a horrible time with that because Glasnow has had 14 starts. That's the most he's ever done in his career. Okay, you cannot find a better teammate, dude. He did the interview last night, the national interview on TBS, and it was just hilarious. By the way, got a lip tattoo.
Who?
Glasnow.
Glasnow got a lip tattoo?
Yeah, he showed it. A lip tattoo.
You're joking.
No. First of all, how much does that hurt? To get a lip tattoo on the inside of your lip? Yeah. It says what does it say? You could probably find it on Twitter. Nothing crazy.
There's no way. He got a lip tattoo?
He got a lip tattoo on the inner side. He showed it on the TBS interview last night.
Oh, he was in the interview?
Yeah. He showed it to him. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what it said. But anyway, do you want to pay a guy $25 million who's never had more than 14 starts? And I've said this before about him. He is such a freak of nature.
Right.
He's such a freak of nature. At 6'8", to keep that whole thing, who's the only great tall pitcher? Randy Johnson was obviously 6'9", 6'10".
Mm-hmm.
I believe Jim Palmer was 6'6", if I'm not mistaken.
I could name more tall pitchers that did not work out just on the top of my head.
It's just hard. It's hard to keep that whole motion together and the timing together when you're that big and you're that powerful. It's just I don't know if Glasnow is ever going to be a guy that is going to be a longevity guy, and that's a lot of money to risk. That being said, again, the Rays, who promised to spend money at the deadline, did nothing. They did nothing except save themselves $25 million by getting Savale, who was going to take his part in the rotation next year, and they did not go out and get Paul Goldschmidt. They did not, because they would have had to give up some serious prospects, and I get that.
I don't even know if he was even really on the. I didn't see.
He was on the trade market.
I barely saw anything about Paul Goldschmidt.
The Cardinals.
How many big hitters you saw get moved?
According to John Morosi.
How many big hitters you saw get moved?
Well, there weren't that many on team because they're playing on teams that are in contention because that's what gets you wins. Big boppers, okay, and that's what wins in the postseason. Power pitching and big boppers. Guys that have done it in this league consistently and can hit against elite pitching, which the Rays have never proven they can do, especially in the postseason. Okay, and that's from John Smoltz and me, and that's obvious. And without making any moves to bolster this offense, the Rays are going to do nothing in the postseason. I hope I am wrong, and yes, they have the best pitching staff, top to bottom, not the best bullpen. They do not. They do not have the best bullpen when you're looking at some of these other teams. They don't. Not at the back end. Compare it to other teams. They don't. and you've got to score runs, and they're not going to be. I have no confidence in this offense moving forward for the rest of the season to be anything super dynamic, and I have no confidence in it, certainly in the postseason against elite pitching. None whatsoever, and this is because this team will never go out and spend money like the other teams.
Hold up.
You cannot win a World Series with the fourth lowest payroll in baseball, which is where they are, and they didn't spend money. Everybody else will spend money except this owner who is stingy, sitting on $500 million of raised money that he put into another account. Go look at the lawsuit, and he can't even get off his fat wallet to make this team a contender by going out and spending real money to get a bopper. Nobody else is going to tell you this. I'll tell it to you. Every time he tells you he's going to spend money, and Eric Neander tells you, and I don't want to blame Neander because I'm sure he's out there making deals to bring guys to him, and he's handcuffed by not being able to add any significant payroll. So I don't want to put it on him. This is on ownership. It will always be on ownership. He doesn't care about winning a World Series unless he can do it pinching pennies. End of rant. That's just who he is. That's where we're at. Stop believing the hype that you're in on Freddie Freeman, that we're going to go get a big bopper. We're going to spend at the deadline. We're going to spend this money. We're going to put back into the organization what we take out. It's all effing bullshit. And I'm sorry, Rays fans, to tell you about the reality. I hope they get it done on a shoestring budget. History tells me that's never going to happen. We need new ownership for the new stadium and everything else. Sell the freaking team, Stu, and let's move on. Take your $1.5 billion, $2 billion profit and take it to Wall Street and impress all your friends up there and tell everybody how you took these stupid Floridians for all this public money in the new stadium, and you spread out like a peacock and show all your money and have a great time with it. Fine, just go. Let's get some local ownership in here who's going to build a stadium in the right place. By the way, have you seen how many fans have shown up in the poorly located brand new stadium in Miami in their biggest series that they've had in that ballpark? They had 9,000 on Monday, 9,000 last night. You know why? Because it's a horribly located ballpark. We're not going to make the same stupid-ass mistake that Miami made. Let's do what Atlanta did and put the ballpark where the fans are. That's how it works, okay? Let's don't be stupid and put it in a horribly located downtown St. Petersburg that nobody can get to and nobody around the stadium wants to go to. That's stupid. It's a dumb expense for public money in St. Petersburg. Mayor Welch, if you do it, you're screwing your own constituents. You're screwing them. That money could be used for much better things. You don't need the Rays for St. Petersburg to blossom. You don't need them. It's a horrible expenditure of public money. Let them go to Tampa where they're going to be successful. That's where Major League Baseball wants them. That's where the most revenue is. Look how the Braves are using this incredible increase in local revenue to put back into the team, and pay Charlie Morton and pay your big boppers and pay a real payroll, and then you can have real baseball, competitive baseball in Tampa at a new stadium. This is not crazy stuff, folks. This is the way the Major League Baseball works. And as the deadline passes, it's a perfect time for this rant and for you all to understand this is what we're dealing with. Can we just be done with it, Major League Baseball? He's the reason we don't have a stadium. He's the reason we don't have contending the ball clubs in the real seasons when it counts. So there we go. I feel much better.
I don't even know.
Keeping it real.
You make it very hard to respond because
I'm right.
Because I'm trying to look at this from an on the field of what my eyes are seeing, and I'm just going to put this out there. The Rays are 22 games over 500.
Oh, here we go.
In most seasons, they should be in first place right now. 22 games over 500. Okay. They have the number one pitching staff in the American League. They have scored the second most runs in the American League. Okay.
Ancient history.
Huh?
Ancient history.
Ancient history.
Yeah.
You know, the full 162-game season counts. And here's why I will tell you I'm not giving up on these hitters in the postseason, okay? Because this year, the facts tell me, the numbers tell me, they're not going to score. Now, let me first set it up here. They were never going to be the team that scores 6.5, 7 runs on a nightly basis like they did in the first month and a half of the season. That was never going to happen.
Correct.
Nor are they going to be the team that you saw for a month and a half stretch where they score 2 runs a game or 2.5, whatever it is, and lose a lot of close 1-run games. They're not that team either. Law of averages tells me they're somewhere in the middle. And in the last few games that they've started to win here against the Astros and the Yankees, they have fallen right into the middle of what the two ends of the spectrums are for their season so far. I think that's a fair assessment. And when the Rays score 4 more runs in a game, 4, just give me 4 runs, they are 57-18. They are 57-18 when you give me 4 runs. You want to know why? Because the pitching is that damn good. And I don't care what the Astros did. I don't care what the Rangers did. You can have your Verlanders. You can have your Scherzers. I don't care what the Orioles did with Flaherty, which doesn't really move the needle much for me.
Expected more of them.
The Rays have the best pitching, top to bottom. Anybody in the American League. And quite frankly, those 4 teams I just gave you are the only 4 teams that I think have a shot to even win the World Series. And even Baltimore, I'm probably skeptic on more so because I don't buy their front start of their starting rotation at all in big spots. I just don't. And I don't think the Rangers, even by adding Scherzer, have an elite rotation. So you keep saying elite pitching. They have one elite pitcher, one guy who's been really good this year in Evaldi, but he's on the IL. And Montgomery's a 3 or a 4 on a staff. The Astros, yes. And that's why I think the Astros are still the number 1 favorite to win. But I'm not going to just throw dirt on the Rays and just cover them up already. I'm not going to. There were some tough times in there that we went through, especially the last 3 weeks. The whole month of July was awful. I get that, but it's a full 162. I'm not ignoring that. And I think you're seeing them. They've come out of this slump so far, and if they balance out to what they've seen right now, that's good enough in my opinion. And as I said yesterday, the hitters that you said that couldn't get the job done last year, maybe they're the same names, but they're not the same players. They have developed. There's no doubt about that. So I'm not going to cover dirt on the Rays right now and put them in a hole and lock them up and say they can't win, nor am I going to tell you that they had a bad trade deadline. I said yesterday, I gave them a solid B+ for the deadline because, yes, I would have loved to have had a hitter, but I can look at the market and look at the moves that were made around the league and tell you that big boppers were not really for sale, and if they were, the asking price was astronomical to the point where 31 other teams didn't want to pay the price for those hitters. So I'm not going to hold the Rays against that. What I will tell you is that the Rays went out and got what they needed, and that was a number 4 starter in their rotation to help take the
Glass now next year.
You may be right, but I'm talking about this year. For this year in particular, where you are going all in and your chips are in, your rotation with Glass now, with Savale, with Eflin, and with McClanahan is the best rotation, not in just the American League, but in Major League Baseball. They went out and got a number 4 starter, which is what they needed, but guess what? The cool thing is they got him for really cheap, yes, which I don't really care. He's pitched like a number 1 this year.
I'm not arguing with the move. I'm arguing with what they didn't do and what their biggest need was and still is, and that's offense, improving hitting.
But I don't think that was available. Nobody else made those moves.
Because nobody has the farm system. Few teams have the farm system that the Rays have.
Well, I know this is a Rays show, but the Orioles could have done the same thing. I didn't see them do anything.
They didn't need it. Their offense is pretty damn good.
You think they could have added to it?
They could have
added starting pitching. What did they get? They got a guy in Jack Flaherty who they're trying to fix. That's it?
I'm not in the discussions that Eric Neander is in with the St. Louis Cardinals to see what it's going to take to get Paul Goldschmidt. But I know this. Adding that salary probably wasn't even on the table because Stu would not allow it. So maybe he didn't even have those discussions, except to say, how much of Goldschmidt's contract will you pay? And then they laugh. Like, none. It's $22 million next year. We could have afforded that. But it's probably another $9 million this year. So that's a $33 million investment that he's not going to make because it doesn't guarantee you winning a World Series. But I'm here to tell you, that's how other owners do it. Hell, the Marlins added payroll, okay? The Rays did not. Nothing significant, $866,000 for what they replaced of Ollie.
But what does it matter if they got the player they needed?
Because they didn't spend money on the player they needed was Paul Goldschmidt. That's the player they needed, not Savale. They didn't need him this year. They still have
I think you
good,
know
they
this.
still have 3 damn good starters, which is all you need in the playoffs.
I think you know more than anybody. You can never, ever,
I agree.
ever
I
have
agree.
enough pitching in the
I agree.
postseason.
100%.
The postseason is about having
100%.
great pitching and timely hitting.
You're absolutely right. But if I was going to prioritize, I would have said Big Bopper number 1 at this point of the season.
Well, hold up though.
Dominant closer number 2 and starter number 3. And they chose door
Fairbanks
number 3
is a
because it
great
was the
closer.
cheapest
Fairbanks is a great closer. And the other options they've added into the bullpen throughout the year, Bob Stevenson, fantastic. Jake Diekman, fantastic. Littell's been a great find. Kevin Kelly, for crying out loud, good
that's
find.
right. I remember.
They have all these finds.
Diekman closing out some World Series games, and Stevenson. That's right. I remember them pitching in high leverage situations in the postseason. Oh, wait a minute. No, I don't. No, I don't. You think the regular season is like the postseason? It's like the hockey. It's 2 totally different things.
I'm not
it's
disputing.
2 totally different
I'm not
things.
disputing that. But how many?
You want to build your team for the regular season? Good for you. Nice and cheap, and you make your $100 million profit every year, Stu. That's nice. You want to get in with the big boys.
Do I have to remind you?
It costs money.
Do I have to remind you that all 3 guys in this? 3 of the guys that are in this rotation right now, the top 3 guys, take Savali out of it, who has pitched in the playoffs, I believe. The other 3 guys have all pitched in the World Series.
Yeah.
They've all pitched in big games.
I'm not, but my point, we don't have a problem with the pitching. The pitching we got. We needed to go spend money on it.
And I'm telling you, the pitching is so good and so outstanding.
Then why didn't
and
we
the
go get
defense for the
Verlander?
most part is there. Why do you want Justin Verlander?
I don't
Why
want
would
it
you
because it
want
costs
that?
too much
Why
money.
would that be? Oh, now it's too much money. Now it's too much money.
That's a ridiculous expenditure of money.
So is the Scherzer
I'm
move.
not
They're
here-
ridiculous.
which is
When
why I'm not-
Savali's been better than both this season.
Which why I'm here to say it's not just about throwing money at the problem, but at some point you've got to get to a floor where you're even capable of winning a World Series. And there's never been a team.
I think they're capable right now.
I think yeah, they're capable. Just like they were last year when they scored 1 run in 24 innings.
I don't think we ever thought they were
freaking
capable of winning
run.
it last year.
Oh, if you were here, we're going to win the World Series. I'm like, not with this offense.
You think I said that when they won 85 games and backed their way into the playoffs, they're going to win the World Series?
Well,
this is different.
In early
This is different.
September, you were like, we got enough offense. No, we never had enough offense last year. We don't have enough. These are the same freaking guys, marginally better a year
They are
later.
They are not marginal. They are way better than what they were
The last
year.
2.5 months, they've sucked. 3.15 runs a game. That's awful. That's among the worst in the league.
So
And
you
that's
take your best
I'll
and you take your worst and you even them out.
Yeah, last year's and then most of this year they've sucked. For a 2-month period, they were really, really good. They were really, really good. That's the anomaly. We'll see. We'll see how it pans out. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they get into the World Series and Randy hits 10 home runs again in the postseason. Woo! I'm sure that's going to happen again. No, it's not. It's not.
And I challenge. But first of all, I
Brandon
challenge
Lau
you.
is gonna stay hot
First
for
of
3
all,
months.
I challenge you
Yeah,
this.
that's gonna
I
happen.
challenge you this. When you look at the teams in the American League, and again, I'm focusing on these 4 teams: Rays, Orioles, Rangers, and Astros. What's to say the Rays don't have? I think the Rays 1 through 5 in their lineup, because I think you have to have 5 really, really good impact players, stars, some of them, right? In your lineup, I think that's fair, right? I think their 1 through 5 is better than what Baltimore has at their best. Okay. Well, you're shaking your head. You're thinking about it.
No.
You don't think Yandy Diaz, Wander Franco, Randy Arozarena, Brandlau, and Isak Paredes? I think that's better than what Baltimore has. I think it's comparable to the other 2, and I think the pitching is better.
Not even close.
But I think the pitching is better. The pitching factors it outweighs it.
You're looking at
They're not going to have a perfect team. None of these teams are perfect. They're all flawed in some way.
You think the Astros rotation now is as good as the Rays? Damn right it is.
The Astros rotation is better than
top 3 guys. I'm not talking about 1 through 5. I'm talking about the top 3 guys.
I'll take my Rays. And I'm saying this, by the way, I'm saying this as someone who thinks that the Astros are the number 1 favorite. I'm just saying I think the Rays slide nice and comfortably around that 2 area.
Do you think the Rays can play with the Braves and the Dodgers?
I can't worry about that. There might not be anybody in the league that can play with the Braves.
Well, it would have helped to have Goldschmidt in the middle of the lineup. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh my goodness.
I'll tell you that right now. All right, we're well overdue for a break, but great debate, my friend. You want to give me some knuckles on that?
I think we had two separate debates here. You're talking about ownerships and stadiums and payrolls and all that, and I'm talking about what my eyes are seeing on the field this season.
It matters on the field.
I could talk about that. I could talk about that stuff in the offseason.
Players. Money buys great players. Go look at the payrolls of the teams that win the World Series. We'll have that.
You want to see the payroll? You want to see the payrolls right now and how they're doing?
Take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into some Dave Canales. A great interview with Mike Evans. J.C. Allen's going to join us at 11:30 from Pewter Report. So lots more Bucs coming your way. Stay with us. This is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. They've been with us for probably a decade now, and they're great to me, and they're great to you. They have the best customer service, folks, and just this, a month ago, Charity, who handles a lot of their auto insurance, helped me out. I needed to get mine by midnight. She stayed on the phone to me till 9:30, getting all my documents, getting everything that was needed. And she saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. With inflation the way it is, it's not 8%, folks. It's not 2%. It's about 50%, right? It's everything costs so much more. Save money where you can, right? Italiano can do that with your homeowner's insurance, your auto insurance, any of your insurance needs. Just have them do the insurance checkup. Give them all your information. They'll do all the work, and they'll come back to you with some better prices, as they did for me, and save you a lot of money. I mean, there's chunks of money you can save here, and that's at Italiano Insurance. The best customer service. And by the way, if you haven't checked up on your homeowner's insurance lately, I believe it's 40% of people are underinsured in the state of Florida. You got to update that. Make sure, because if we get hit by a hurricane and you don't have enough insurance, you're screwed. And a lot of people are going through this now with our last hurricane down in Fort Myers. Do not be one of those folks. So make the call, 813-877-7799, and make sure you're properly insured and you're saving all the money you can possibly save. The best customer service. A human being will answer the phone, which is rare. It's Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and they do amazing things in the community as well. So it's these are the folks we love having being part of the program because of all those things they do. 813-877-7799. All right, a little bit more Bucs talk here. As we mentioned, the quarterback competition is real, folks. It is real, and Kyle Trask has had a great first week, probably pulled even, if not surged ahead. And this will bring the best out of Baker Mayfield. Dave Canales, the offense coordinator, spoke with the media yesterday, and we're just going to play this in full. We'll stop it down and give you a little bit of analysis, but we're going to learn so much about the offense and defense of this emerging team. So let's hit it.
Making big catches, Cade. What is it about your offensive system that allows them to play so fast, so quickly, and really be on the same page with these quarterbacks?
Well, first I'll just give Brad Idzik some love. You know, he does a fantastic job. He and Jeff Castle and David Rye are all in the receiver room. So you got three coaches that are in there really making sure that nobody gets left behind. So whether it's an extra 10 or 15 minutes with this guy or that guy. And then the intentionality of the install. So what we try to do is not overwhelm them with volume. Where in the past, you might be responsible for this entire playbook. We're going into our seventh practice right now. Well, if you break it up into smaller clusters, they can really focus on, say, 2 or 3 days at a time, and that really helps the young guys. This goes back to Pete, way back to USC, and his promise to a lot of the freshmen coming in is you're going to play. We don't expect you to know all the plays, but what you do well will let you showcase that. And so that also followed us to Seattle, and we were able to get some guys to play early and be effective by not overwhelming them with too much.
Hey, one more thing on the quarterback situation. You're going into practice number 7.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say the quarterback competition is even tighter since day one?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think we were in the spring right in this room talking about it, and just the pros and cons of just naming a starter for the comfortability or playing this thing out. Well, I think what we're seeing is we're seeing a couple of guys who both have to put themselves in that starter mind frame going into the practices, knowing, hey, today's my day. I get to run with the ones. I get, maybe a few more reps. It's pretty much even when we go ones and twos the way we do it. But I just I see the two guys really challenging each other. And then the cool part is in our room, which a lot of people don't get to see and hear, is just rule number one, we're here to help the Bucs win. So whatever that is, we do that. And then second rule is we help each other. So Coach Moore, myself, Thad Lewis, Jordan Somerville, the assistant quarterbacks coach. Now you got 4 coaches with 3 players. So we're all in there talking. If there's something that benefits the team on a play, somebody sees it and says it. So you see the guys helping each other. And it's really just elevating the room and the competition factor. Don't leave John Wolford out of the deal too. Like, he wants to make plays and he has his own style of doing it. He brings a lot to the table too. So it's a really, really good competitive cauldron that we're creating in there.
Stop it down there. Boy, is that refreshing? Just the candidness of absolutely. It's like coaches are so afraid to say things like this. Like, tell us what's going on. Absolutely, it's not. I've seen so many head coaches like, we're not going to tell you who's going to start. We're not going to hold that back. Like it's some type of advantage. So ridiculous. I love everything this guy's talking about and the volume of what guys can handle. I've always said this. Having great knowledge as a coach and you can know everything about football. You could be a savant. But if you're not communicating it to your players where they can actively use it on the field in an efficient way, it's meaningless. It's meaningless. If you overwhelm them, they can't play. And you saw that a lot with the Gruden offenses. It's just like, here's this pile of playbook this big. Some guys can handle it, like maybe Brad Johnson, but most guys can't. I love the way he thinks this through. It's fantastic. Let's continue.
On the offensive line and Wirfs and Jensen, it would have been easy for you to sit there and say, okay, you guys are set at center and left tackle, and at left guard and right tackle, we'll have a competition and rotate some guys through there. But you decided to kind of pick your 5 starters and let them build continuity and chemistry from day one, because that does take time. Can you just speak to that philosophy?
Sure.
and how that is probably going to pay some dividends if all 5 of these guys do the job?
Sure. So, high hopes, right? That group just stays and plays, but we all know the NFL, and we know that different combinations get thrown in there. But I think what happens is it's a communication thing. So when guys get used to talking to certain players, then that communication becomes really fluid, really natural. They're used to this guy playing right next to him and the combinations and the blocks, not just the verbal communication, but that physical communication where 2 people are working on one guy, comboing up to the second level. They start to get used to how he hits this guy onto me, or how this guy slows him down for this other combo to overtake it. So even if it doesn't end up being that combination, at least the work of it, the physical work of it, allows us to get good clips on film for us to study and to show the team, like, hey, this is a really good, etc.
What kind of analytics or technology component is there to the quarterback competition? Like, are you able to track quickly?
Yeah. So, we have the most experienced person in the building, Tom Moore. He's tracking the ball out every single play, every single pass. So whether it's 7-on-7 or team settings, he's sitting there and he's timing it. And I'm very critical on the quarterbacks in terms of getting the ball out, because we want to encourage our offensive line to be aggressive with their sets to where they don't have to sit back and wait for the defense, see what they're going to do. Go get your hands on them. We're going to get the ball out. And so we commit to them to get the ball out in less than 3 seconds. 2.7 is our magic number. And if we get it out less than 3, if it's past 3 quarterbacks, you better be scrambling. So if you ever hear me yelling at practice, it's usually because we're beyond that 3-second point. And guys, you realistically don't have time to just sit here and pick the open guy. We got to move. We got to train our players to scramble. We got to train the defense to cover down when we break the pocket. So it all works together that way.
When you're
So true.
At practice, is that more just to get the guys thinking less, or what's the philosophy behind that?
It's just a big part of what we do. So just making sure that every day has a little emphasis of the tempo. And then, to your point, if I feel the practice is starting to it's hot out there. And so if I feel like we're really starting to like break the huddle slowly, I'll throw a tempo play in, and then everybody's just right back up, But we try to do it in a respectful manner with the defense because it's not realistic as they rotate and sub people as well. So we try to let them get their call, get their eyes around, then let's go. And then that kind of trains the whole group to play faster, evaluate, diagnose, and then go from there.
Just stop down for a sec. It's something that's really noticeable at practice with Canales. Then when they go tempo, they huddle close to the line, like within 3 or 4 yards of the line, and they break the huddle, and they're on the ball, and they're ready to go. And I'm like, why don't they run the play? And that's why, because they want to be respectful for the defense. But in the game, they're going. They're going. And the defense is not even set. They're going to run their play that they're going to run. It's dramatic when you see it, how quickly they get out and get to the line.
About your excitement for Rashad White.
Oh, man.
What he can do.
Yeah.
Is everything that you were hoping for out there so far?
And yeah, I mean, just waiting to see some live bullet play from him. But I mean, he's just so natural. Everything he does, the run game, the pass game, pass protection, routes, really natural with both hands catching the ball. I think he's going to be fantastic, So just my part and our part as a staff is making sure that we are able to take advantage of all the skill set that he brings.
With the right zone, does that complement his style as a slasher more than say a power scheme would?
I wouldn't say that. That's part of the him being such a natural is there really isn't a run type he hasn't shown to just kind of feel. He feels it really well. So he doesn't restrict us in what we can do in that regard.
And what about the rest of the running back room? I know it's kind of, him is kind of running back number one, but you've got some other guys in there. I know Sean Tucker's a guy we're just now starting to see, but just that whole group, him, Keyshawn Vaughn, just how things are kind of going with that.
Yeah, it's an exciting group. I mean, Sneak, again, so the cool part about Sneak is he's got enough experience right now where any run type you give him, he really knows what it's designed to do. So he's got patience on the ones he needs to be patient. He hits it fast on the ones he needs to. So he's exciting. Chase Edmonds, was a glorified slot receiver in Arizona. I coached against him, really just watched him play, for a bunch of years while he was there, and he's lightning in a bottle. I mean, he just shot out of a cannon, and he can do as much as a lot of our slot receivers do too. So he's a really dangerous asset for us. You talked about Sean. What I'm noticing about Sean Tucker is he's got another gear. So he's probably the fastest guy we have in the room, and he's really got some suddenness to him. Patrick Laird does everything right. He's the guy that's like tapping me on the shoulders, like, hey, on this in the spring we had this route on this concept. Is that what you want? The drawing was this. Yes, that's right. So he's on top of all that. And then Ronnie Brown. I think what you're going to see is we're going to play Ronnie a lot in the preseason. We're going to play all our guys, and he's got a real skill set too in the run game and the pass game. He had a lot of carries. Was it Shepard, I believe? And so he had a phenomenal tape. If you ever get a chance to watch his highlight film on YouTube or something, if you have a second, it's pretty fun. And he's got personality too. He brings a lot of good juice to the room.
Coach, we have some defensive players like Anto Winfield that have said been very complimentary of your scheme and the looks that you're giving them. So what have you learned from Todd Bowles' defense going up against it in practice, and how have you applied that maybe to what you're building with the offense side of the ball?
Well, I just, I don't want to speak too much about the defense. You guys just had Casey in here, but really for the most part, just the effort and the way they play together, they talk. That's one of the big things. They communicate. They're always talking. And Antoine, he's a quarterback on the field, and so he's yelling out the plays. He's starting to get, picking up where we're at, why we're doing it. Here comes a jet sweep, and he's like, there's only a couple things they've been doing out of this formation. He's all over it, and so we've had some good conversations there. And then, just the corners and the nickels too, just trying to evaluate how we're trying to attack them in the run game or the pass game. So, and it's just a good group of dudes. So had a good chance to get a little crossover time, in practice, in the cafeteria. Just try to build a team right now.
It's Dave Canales, your offensive coordinator, and a phenomenal one at that. I mean, he hasn't called a play yet, right? We're already putting him in the Hall of Fame, but he is fun to listen to. He gives you great information, really does. All right, J.C. Allen coming up next with a Pewter Report, and want to remind you about Extravaganza Productions.
They are the folks, if you have a meeting coming up, a charity event, any type of event, big or small, they do it all. They've got a warehouse full of props and are incredibly creative. Paul Thomason and Dolly and all the folks over there will take great care of you. They'll give you a free creative session if you tell them you heard it on the JP Peterson Show. Just go to their website, extravaganzaproductions.com, and you can get in contact with them through there. Either email them or call them and tell them you want that free creative session. They would love to do it for you. And very reasonable in terms of their pricing, and they are absolutely exceptional and professional at everything they do. Extravaganzaproductions.com. All right, back at 3 with J.C. Allen from the Pewter Report. Stay with us. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches. In fact, with the new, you can select great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Love them. Paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at American Mortgage Services. Scott Fitzgerald will get your loan done. He is the best in the business. Still not a bad idea to refi. You got a lot of equity in your home right now, and money is still relatively cheap compared to what you're paying at 29% on your credit cards, right? 5-6%, not so bad. So go ahead and do that. That's something that you should do. And just talk to Scott. He will do a great job of explaining to you where you should be putting your money in terms of paying off bills, what you can do in terms of home equity. If you're looking for a new house and you're trying to find the most creative way to get into it, talk to him. He has all the different programs on all the different banks, not just one bank. Instead of calling one bank, call Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. They look at tons of banks and tons of different opportunities for you to get the best deals. So just email him, scott@amstampa.com. That's scott@amstampa.com. All right, let's bring in our good friend J.C. Allen from the Pewter Report. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Doing well, guys. How you guys doing today?
Great. I did not get a chance to get over for the night practice last night. I believe you were there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what'd you see? Everybody wants to. We've been talking about the quarterback competition. Yesterday, Canales said it is absolutely tightened up. So what are you seeing from the two quarterbacks from the first week?
Yeah, I think, you go into the summer, everyone says Baker's job to lose. But what we've seen is Trask really kind of tighten this race up. We had Coach Canales on our Pewter Report podcast, and he pretty much said, whoever turns the ball over less and whoever makes, scores more touchdowns, makes those splash plays is going to be named the starter. Going into this whole competition, this was the goal of his, is to get both of these guys in that starter mindset, preparing each day like it's their job to win, their job to lose. And I think over the course of, the 6 practices that we've seen, they've both risen to that level. Since pads have come on, really seen an uptick in Trask's production, just making smart, decisive decisions with the ball. Baker's looking good as well. He's just been a little more loose with the ball. He's got, 5 turnovers compared to Trask's 1 in the last couple practices here. A couple other ones that were dropped that probably should have been caught as well. It's going to be an interesting race. Obviously, we're only 3 days into padded practices, and we'll see. But at this point in time, I think it's literally a wide open competition right now, and with Trask's surgeons right now, trying to obviously take that top spot. Maybe it's Baker doing a little bit too much, putting himself in disadvantageous positions. And just, Bull said he wants a little risk in his quarterbacks, but it's been a little too risky on Baker's side, and that's given Trask what appears to be an upper hand early. Let's call it what it is, early on in this competition at camp.
And I'm just curious because we've been hearing a lot, and this probably is true, this is Baker's job to lose. And I think a lot of that is based on the fact that at least we've seen Baker Mayfield play at a high level before, albeit back in 2020, but he's done it before, and we've never seen Kyle Trask in an NFL game. I'm just curious, based on what you've seen so far, if you had walked into camp and you had no idea who either quarterback was and you were judging them strictly off of where they are at the moment, which quarterback do you have the ultimate edge to through the whole process so far, as you said early?
I think it's interesting because they both bring different things. When you're looking at what they do on the field, Baker is a guy that's bringing that energy. He's talking trash. He's really, the guys are rallying around him. And then Trask just has this quiet leadership about him. He's not going to be that hype guy, rah-rah, kind of, barking at guys and everything like that. He's literally taking everything, even talking to after plays, talking to the wide receivers, talking to the running backs. How do you like this ball placed here? You're seeing the two different styles of leadership these guys have. If I was just walking in, take the names off the back of the jersey, I think Trask right now would have the upper hand. But again, there's a lot of things that Baker has that Trask doesn't have, with the experience and the just knowing what an NFL game, a full season, a full game as a starter, even not just garbage snaps, looks like. So that can't be discounted either. We're really going to see, I think, a real look, once the games start. I think that's going to, usually these preseason games are just kind of like, whatever. But I think with Trask specifically, we're going to need to see how he handles himself in these games as the starter, finally getting reps with the ones. He's looking fluid out there. He's looking good slinging the ball. And the most important thing is he's playing turnover-free ball right now, which is ultimately what the Bucs want and what's going to determine this battle.
J.C. Allen of the Pewter Report joining us here. One of the other big positions that's up for grabs that we're not probably talking about enough is the nickel position. Zion McCullum might be a candidate there. I see D. Delaney out there a lot running with the first team. And Josh Hayes is a guy I think I've seen shine a couple of times. I like the way he plays. He plays with kind of a easy, fast quickness. He doesn't look like he's trying real hard, but he has great makeup speed. I've seen him block, knock down a few passes. Who do you think has the upper hand in that competition right now?
Right now, D. Delaney, just because he has the experience, he's getting the reps with the ones, but we're starting to see, not just Josh Hayes, but Christian Isian getting some reps with the ones as well. It's really, when you look at these three guys, I think these are the three guys firmly entrenched in the battle. D. Delaney has that inside-outside availability. Christian Isian has that safety nickel ability, and then with Josh Hayes, he can play all three. He's had that experience in all three areas, so they've all shown up and made plays at certain points in practice. So the fact that they haven't brought anybody in as far as a veteran to compete, and there's still some solid options out there with the Troy Hill, with the Bryce Callahan, two guys who have played the nickel cornerback position, at a high level and in really good defenses, tells you that they really like these guys. At least they want to see more of them before they decide if they want to, bring a veteran into the competition. So it's only been a few days. Nickel spot's one of those where, you're dealing with wide receivers coming out of the slot. So we'll see what happens as days with padded practices continues. Everyone looks good in shorts and T-shirts, like our friend Jalen Dart in there. But we need to see what these guys can do in pads. But so far, it's been encouraging. They're obviously going up against some really stiff competition with them moving guys like Mike Evans in the slot. Godwin works out of the slot. He's getting a lot of outside work. Russell Gage. So they're definitely getting great looks from the wide receivers. But I think it's a little too early to call to even call an early winner of that competition. I think they're trying everybody out, and we'll see who sticks.
In regards to the offensive line, and more particularly the right side with Cody Mauch and Luke Gedeke, I've said that's my biggest concern going into the season because there's a lot of unknown there and inexperience. But, I heard Canales, we just played his answer about the offensive line and his kind of viewpoint on that, where they have all five guys named the starter and so they could gel and the communication, all those things. What did you kind of make of that kind of philosophy, and how do you think that five is starting to come along so far?
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I think if you're rotating guys in and out, and they are to an extent with the center position, as Jensen kind of ramps back up. They've got Nick Leverett starting some days, Robert Hainsey starting some days. So, that center position is kind of rotating a bit. But as far as cementing your guys and getting them to gel and getting that continuity, I mean, that's really important amongst the offensive line. You need to know what the guy next to you is going to be thinking. So they can just go out there and play freely. They know, against this look, I'm going to pass this off to you, etc. So, I like the concept. I like the idea. I think you have your five best linemen out there probably right now as far as talent-wise. Nothing on some of these other guys with Walton, Hainsey, Leverett. These guys are all have proven they can play snaps in the NFL at a high level. Obviously, Hainsey's a starting center last year, and Leverett ending the season at left guard for the after week 8. So I like what they're doing so far. What I've seen, there's going to be some hiccups, but for the most part, I haven't seen anyone get bullied too badly or look out of place. Mock obviously making a similar transition to what Luke did last year, Gedeke did last year, moving from left tackle to right guard, different position, different side of the line after really only playing tackle in college. Luke looks more natural there at right tackle. This offense, too, the way it's set up where they're, passing guys along the line horizontally, it really wears these guys out. They have the athleticism. We know Luke has his strength. I know, questions have been brought up about his arm length, but, he's finding a way to utilize that to win. He looked really good on one-on-ones yesterday, going up against a defensive lineman. In one of the reps, got a little too physical in teams with Jose Ramirez and, kind of put him on his butt, ripped his helmet off, got a penalty for that. So he's got to play a little bit smarter on that side. But you can see the strength is there. The mobility is there. It's just going to take time. Pads just came on 3 days ago. So, that's when we really kind of get to see, the makeup of along the lines, both offense and defense. But so far, I haven't seen anything that really causes concern. We'll see as we continue to go through these practices. And again, the preseason games are going to be a big determining factor of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and those practices with the Jets, which are even better than preseason games. I wish I could. Are you guys going up to New York at all to watch those? I will not be able to go up. Are you guys sending anybody?
Yeah, we'll have Matty Matera,
Nice.
New York guy. He's going to go up there,
All
and
right.
our intern Adam Sullivan will be up there too.
Sweet. Cool. All right, tell everybody how they can get your great content, all the podcasts and TV stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So go check out pewterreport.com for all of our latest articles, our links to our podcasts. Pewter Report on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all the socials, Threads, if you're on Threads still. And Pewter Report TV is where we'll have our podcast. We'll be breaking down last night's practice. Scotty and Matt will be breaking that down. So, yeah, definitely check out all of our work. You can find me at JC Allen NFL on Twitter. We've got a bunch of great content coming out, bunch of exclusives coming out. I just actually spoke to Luke Gedeke last night.
Nice.
I've got something coming out on some of these young safeties, Christian Izzian and Kayvon Merriweather.
Nice.
We'll have stuff coming out on David Wells, David Moore. So a lot of good stuff coming through the pipeline, so make sure you're keeping it over at Pewter Report for the most comprehensive training camp coverage that you'll find. And the best coverage you'll find throughout the Bucs throughout the year.
You guys are doing an awesome job, JC. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate you hopping on with us. Thanks.
Always a pleasure, guys. Have a great day.
All right. Great stuff there. All right, we got more good stuff coming your way. We're going to bring you a little bit of Mike Evans, who gave a great press conference yesterday. I think it was yesterday. So we'll hear from Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Treasure. Quick break. We're both brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source. If you're looking for that ring, folks, that engagement ring, no other place to go than the Gold and Diamond Source. They have the best selection, incredible staff. It's family over there. They'll make family of you if you become a customer over there, and always get that diamond savings account where your diamond never loses its value. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Almondson Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents
and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
The off-air show is fantastic.
You know, you really are.
Super smart.
No.
And look at the whole picture.
No.
Not just the hot 2 months of the season. You
No.
want to stake your entire fortune on that.
Well, what's the difference? I look at the hot 2 months of the season, and you look at the 2 months they weren't doing so well. What's the difference
all of
there?
last year. There's that too. All right, we got to get to Mike Evans.
Do we have to? This baseball discussion has been very good.
I promised Mike Evans, and I'm not going to disappoint the folks here. He gave a great interview yesterday.
Oh my goodness, man!
Shut up.
You just make bad statements about the Rays.
We got all day tomorrow to argue about this.
I think I have to argue again because I'm not done. I'm not done.
There's some sycophants in the comments that agree with you.
You're getting killed on.
Yandy
You're getting
Diaz
killed
is a
on
better
the.
player than Paul Goldschmidt.
He is a better player than Paul Goldschmidt.
How many MVPs has he won?
Oh my gosh,
How many
man!
All-Star games? Okay.
Oh my goodness, man! You know what? The X machine's
Mike
killing
Evans,
you, and rightfully so.
Good, I love it. The more I piss him off, the more engagement we get. That's what we're supposed to do. All right, let's listen to Mike Evans, who gave a great interview. It just his ability to get better and improve every year is one of the great hallmarks of his career, and just hear him talk about it and the maturity in his voice and everything he says. Let's play it.
So.
You're 10.
Yep, you're 10.
Has it flown by for you? Does it seem like it's been 10 years?
Yeah, like in the moment, it seems like it's taking a while, but then you just look up and, you were just a rookie and now you're year 10. So that's how all the vets explain it to me, and that's what I'm explaining to the younger players. Like, you're going to look up and it's time is going to have flown by, so try not to take it for granted.
What does your body say to you, though? Because, I know like the other day you went airborne and you just, fell kind of hard to the ground. Do you start to feel those a little bit more, or are you still able to brush it off like you used to?
A little achy, but, yeah, I feel better than I did when I was younger. Much better.
With you're used to 1,000-yard seasons. I know you don't take them for granted. You play through a lot of injuries to get that amount of yardage. With 4 more seasons of 1,000 yards, you would move into the top 10 all time for wide receivers in terms of the yardage. Do you think about that? Not that you're in the twilight of your career.
I didn't know what I needed, but I know I was close to getting to that, and that means a lot to me. I'm a fan of the game. I always have been. I've respected the game, and hopefully, God willing, I stay healthy, and I'll get it done.
And along those same lines, this year you had the opportunity to match a guy that was one of your idols in Randy Moss for second most all-time 1,000-yard seasons. I know that you have the most 1,000-yard seasons from the start of a career. But just what would that mean to you to be able to capture, to hold a record with someone that you looked up to so much?
I mean, arguably, he's the best receiver to ever play, or definitely top 3 in my opinion. And just to be in the same breath as all these guys is a tremendous honor, and I don't take it for granted. It's cool. Something me and my family and friends always talk about, and it's happening. So I'm just trying to do my best to to make it all happen.
You said you feel better now than you did when you were younger.
Yep.
What do you know now that you didn't know then? What are you doing now?
It's life, you know. You live and you learn, and that's what I've been doing. I've had a lot of great vets come in and show me the way, and I've picked their brains and seen what they've done. Tom, Gerald McCoy, Vincent Jackson, Shady, you know, all these guys. I got to see them prepare their bodies and things like that just to maintain that longevity, and you know, it's been helpful. I got a chef in both places I live. That's helped me tremendously, and I work out, you know, way more than I did when I was younger. So that's helped too.
Not just working out, but you know, you said you're smarter now than you were when you came to the league. The way you prepare, the way you obviously train, but the way you see the field. How has that changed just over the last couple of years, especially with a guy like Tom?
Man, every year the game changes. I remember when I was in college, and Casey Hampton, who's from my hometown, Galveston, Texas, I used to always talk to him because I was like the next guy up from Galveston to make it to the pros, and he would tell me that the game would slow down like I would never believe. And each year it happened. Like, I swear the game slows down for me. I'm able to make adjustments during the game, and you know, it's been cool. It's just, it comes with playing the game a lot and just getting that experience.
Mike, a lot of talk with Trask and Baker, obviously. What have you learned from your experiences with Baker, and what changes have you seen in Kyle this year compared to the last two?
I mean, they've both been having a really good camp, and we're all learning a new offense, and it's going to be much harder on quarterbacks, but they're making some really good plays. They're both really mobile. They both got really great arm talent, really good young players. So, you know, they're doing well right now. So I'm looking forward to see who gets the job.
What do you like about this new offense? It looks like there's more slants and more routes that are designed. When you catch the ball, your back isn't turned at the end zone. You got the ball, you can catch and run, get some yards after catch.
I love what Dave has brought, you know, a different type of energy. He's a really interesting guy, really fun to be around. And in the past, I've been moved around a lot. But in this offense, I'm going to be moved around even more. So it'll be harder to get a double team on me. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we are able to do this year.
I feel like every single coordinator that you've had, or every quarterback, or just every couple of years, it seems like you found new ways to evolve your game. And that's how you stay relevant in this league and successful. And of course, you also got to stay healthy too. But just how can this new system under Canales kind of help you evolve your game even more?
I mean, like I said, I'm moved all over the place. I mean, there's things that there's a lot of routes. Everybody has the same plays, pretty much. It's just when to call them. They're called different things. But there's a few routes that I've never seen before, and I look forward to running some of these routes. So, I mean, it's going to be hard to stop some of these routes.
Can you talk about
Love that. Just love that. He's 10 years in. Never run these route combinations. That's pretty cool.
There's a new blossoming world in the NFL with the route concepts that exist nowadays that the Bucs have completely ignored, or did ignore under the. I mean, they won a Super Bowl, right? But to prosper,
this is the evolution.
Yeah, but this is the evolution, and to prosper on the other side of that era, you have to evolve. And the fact that Mike Evans, like you said, 10 years in, continues to, I guess, be blown away from this offense is just insane to me.
And he says he's faster.
He says he's faster. You know what else?
I saw that like it was 2 years ago where when it came on the show, I said, Mike Evans is faster than
He is
used
faster.
to be. He's faster, and he gets deep. And people that say he's not a deep route runner, go check the tape.
Yeah.
Check your sheet.
He's more of a well-rounded, I'll say now. Like, he's never going to be a big, like, yak guy, right? That's not really his game.
He tends to go to the ground to catch balls too much.
And I feel like that's why he gets, like, I was going to say, like, in this press conference, they touched on it in some of those, like, earlier questions. And, like, his demeanor, like, it was almost like he had that, like, I'm going to talk my shit mentality today. Because, like, I am one of those guys.
He is.
He's never talked about in that tier of receivers.
What, they just did a top 10 in Madden, he's not in it.
That's crazy. And like he was ranked like 53 in the players poll or something like that. So whatever. But I feel like, I mean, we're watching a player who, if you go strictly by the numbers, and the Hall of Fame is about the numbers, the guy should be there. He's going to have well over 100 touchdowns when it's all said and done, probably in the top 10, maybe top 5 when his career's done in touchdowns at least. And in yards, like he's pushing into the top 10. Like, this is a Hall of Fame receiver. More than likely that we're watching.
This next contract, which, you know, you look at Devontae, who got 5 years, 140. I'm sure that's what his representative's looking for. His numbers are on par with Devontae.
Right.
And he had, you know, I think he can play at least 4 more years.
He's not even 30 yet.
I know. He could play at least 4 more years.
Right. And I think with this, and people give him stuff.
Why
People
not give him
him
the money, man?
People
Who
give
else
him.
you wanna give it to?
Yeah, he's just be a buck for life. And people give him. People give him flack because they look at the 1,000 yards and they go, "Well, he finished like a yard over 1,000 in this season, and this and that." And it's like, but again, the offenses that he's run and the routes that he's run historically,
and the double teams
and the
that
double
he's
teams that he's absorbed, he's always catching the ball. And this is part of the reason why he doesn't get much yak. Yeah. He's always catching the ball with his back to the end zone. Yeah. So there's not a lot of room where you see some of these more explosive receivers. They're running all over the place and everything. Yeah. Mike's just never been in an offense like that. Yeah. And he still got to 1,000 yards with the quarterback play he's had for 7 of the 9 years he's been in the league. Right. I mean, that's incredible.
It's insane, and I just think he's going to have a renaissance this year. I mean, if I'm in fantasy, I'm drafting Mike Evans. I think he's going to. I'm going to think he's going to. He's going to get 10 to 12 targets a game, if not more. Right. In this offense, I love him. I love what he stands for. He could be out there bitching like some of these other diva receivers that he deserves the money and he's not coming in until he gets it, but he's not.
He wants to be there.
Yeah, but he wants to be there, and he's a great teammate. He's a great citizen. He's a great role model. And like I said, if I have to overpay anybody, it's him. It's him for his leadership ability, for what he still brings to the table athletically, all of it. It's exactly what you want in a player. And again, the salary cap's going up. Give it to him. Give it to him.
Hey, before we go, by the way, I'm not going to ignore these last few comments that came through the pike right here.
What's that?
Y'all talk yo shit to this man right here. Y'all say it. Put him up. Put him up.
What?
Put those comments up.
Oh, this one?
Put those comments. Well, no. Hey, you skipped the other ones, but you put that one up too.
Which one? That one? Okay. Well, you have access to it. You can do it as well.
I wanted you to do it, but I'll do it.
You guys want to sit here and talk about like snippets of take your snippet of that. I'll take what Paul Goldschmidt has done over his career, and you would tell me Yandy Diaz is the player that Paul Goldschmidt is? Are you effing kidding me? Go look at the numbers, and I'm not saying pay for past performance. Not what I'm saying. This guy brings it in the moment and has been a consistent bopper for his entire career. Yandy Diaz has had a nice season. I'm not going to bitch slap Yandy Diaz, but Yandy Diaz, you put both of them in the lineup. That's the point. It's not one or the other, you morons. One plays first base, one's a designated hitter. Is that hard to absorb? You got to beef up your lineup. It's not one or the other, morons. You're both in the lineup, okay? Duh. So you can have the best of both worlds. It's not one or the other. So you want to throw Paul Goldschmidt and Yandy Diaz? Go ahead and spit out your stupid-ass numbers. How about we put them both in the lineup? Oh, was that allowed? Yes, it is, by the way. There. How's that?
I thought these were good comments.
They are.
They were great comments. Thank you, Patrick B. and Jared Ward, for letting him know.
But you can have them both in the lineup. That's the whole point of it. Get more. Get more. Why not add more?
It just wasn't in the cards.
It's like you guys have stock in Stu Sternberg, and you get a cut of his $100 million profit every year. Why are you so against spending money and going out and getting good players like everybody else does? Exactly.
There was no big hitters that went on this deadline. What'd you want, Yeimer Candelario? Is that what you wanted?
Better than what we got.
Hey, I hear.
If you can add him to what we have, then let's go.
How much longer before you're on the Trey Mancini train? Because he's available all of a sudden as a free agent. Are you going to tell me you'd want to have Trey Mancini all of a sudden just because he's a name?
I'd have to look at some of the numbers.
Oh, they're dreadful. They're dreadful.
But at one time, he was a very, very good hitter.
We're done. I'm right. You're wrong. The Rays got better. End of story.
All right. You want to bet on whether they win the World Series this year?
Well, I think the Astros are still better, so I'm not going to.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't the overall question. I think they're still a contender.
Well, the point is to win the World Series. That's what I'm talking about. That's the point.
And they're the number 2 team in the AL, in my opinion.
You can have your meaningful games in September, Stu. Woo.
We're done. We're done.
Get lots of money. Woo, yeah, we're rich.
We're done.
We have no World Series. Bye-bye. Have a great day, everybody. Go Rays.
Catch the JP